friends, we're back. This is our week 3 Eat to Beat Cancer and Heart Health Challenge. And today we are making a spicy peanut tofu and broccoli stir fry. And I've already got my tofu in the deluxe air fryer cooking, and my quinoa is cooking in the microwave. And so now we're on to the third part, which is making the sauce. And in my cooking blender here, I've got a half a cup of natural, all natural peanut butter, nothing else added, along with a quarter cup of organic non-GMO tamari, or you could use coconut aminos as well. And tamari is just a low sodium soy sauce, okay? It's non-GMO organic. All right, so now, and if you want to see, know how to make your own peanut butter in the cooking blender, let me know, comment below, and I can send you a link to that video as well. All right, so we're also today talking about the 5 common mistakes that people make when choosing or starting out to go with a plant-based or vegan diet. And one that we already talked about was wondering, thinking that protein only comes from meat. And as I said in part 1 of this video, was that where do cows and horses and chickens, and where do they get their protein, right? They're fed with grass, and so obviously they're getting their protein from grass, which means that relying on a lot of green leafy vegetables is also wonderful for us, okay? And also don't forget that most people eat more protein than they actually need, and that can cause problems for your kidneys. So by eating a plant-based diet, you are going to most probably avoid that issue. Okay, so on with the sauce. We have our peanut butter, our coconut aminos or tamari in here, and now we're on to our lime juice. We need 2 tablespoons of lime juice, and before I squeeze my lime, I'm going to zest the outer part of the lime, and that just adds that much more interesting taste. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this and I'm going to sprinkle it on top of my dish. Okay? All right, so then I'm just going to press it with my citrus press, and about a half of a regular sized lime will give you about 2 tablespoons of lime juice. And if it's more than 2 tablespoons, that's fine too. If it's not quite, then that's all right. But if you want to measure it precisely, it's 2 tablespoons. Okay, and then I take this. Now, you want to get organic if you can to avoid the pesticides, non-GMO of course. If you can't, just make sure that you wash your fruits and veggies really, really well. Soak them. I soak mine in baking soda or apple cider vinegar for about 15 to 20 minutes, or get a veggie wash and a scrubbing brush and scrub them really well. And then I use this in my water with, just add some hot water, and I get all of the benefits of what's left in here, the pulp and the essential oils as well from the outside, which citrus fruits are known to be anti-cancer, and they are a wonderful addition to your any way in your diet. Okay, so that's for later. And then we've got 1 to 2 tablespoons of sriracha. Now, I am not a spice loving person, so I choose to go less because sriracha is really spicy, and this is a non-GMO one. So sriracha is like a chili sauce. So if you don't have sriracha, you can get any kind of chili paste or chili sauce that you might have, or you can omit it if you really don't want the spice. So I'm just adding here, I'm starting out with a tablespoon, and then if somebody wants to add some extra spiciness, then they can do that. All right, and then we want 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And this maple syrup is local from just less than an hour away from a friend of ours. And we actually went there at Easter time to help him close up, and we got our maple syrup from him, fresh made right there on the premises. You can't get much more local than that. And we get our eggs from down the street whenever possible from our neighbors. So always try to buy local and as much from small farms as much as possible, where you know that the practices are more on a health conscious basis, and hopefully that they are non-GMO, free range as well. Okay, and then we've got a clove of garlic. Now I'm going to press my garlic. And I don't need, when you press, you don't need to peel it. Otherwise, you can, if you don't have a garlic press, you can for sure just cut it up and chop it up, because it will get mixed up throughout and cut up in your blender. And also the great thing about garlic press is that it releases the oils and all the nutrients. Of course, we all know from the last few weeks, if not before, that garlic and anything from the garlic and onion family are considered and been proven to show that they have a lot of anti-cancer fighting properties, or cancer fighting properties. And then we need ginger. So I've got here some ginger that I had soaking, and then I always just use, generally, I use my veggie peeler to peel the ginger. And the great thing when you're using a powerful blender like our deluxe cooking blender here is that you don't need to worry about chopping it up, because the blender does it for you in a matter of seconds. And sometimes you get these little knobs. Now, to prepare this meal faster, you could have some of these things done in advance, right? So I'm just going to pop it in there like so. And then I need half a cup of water. Oh, here we go. Half a cup of water into the blender, and that's it. So that's pretty simple. Now I'm just going to put this on, let it blend for about a minute. And that's it for the sauce. So I'm just going to turn it to custom and just turn it up there. And it's just going to blend all on its own. It'll just be like a few seconds. Meantime, I'm just going to get some of this out of here. Next we've got our peppers. I'm just going to seed my pepper. I'm just cutting it in half. And the best way I find to get the seeds out of my pepper is to do it like so. Just cut around the top. And you've got hardly anything left in. As Wasn't that easy? If you pull it, then you're likely to spread the seeds. There you go. And our sauce is done. So wasn't that easy? We've got, if you have some little spots, just cut them off. And then, so we're using 2 peppers. So I've got a red. I like to have variety. The more variety that you have from the colors of the rainbow, then the more phytonutrients that you get from nature. These peppers are so nice and crisp, and they're Canadian grown, so that's another plus. It's great that we're coming into the farmers market seasons now. Even though it's a greenhouse, it's still fairly local, and we know that they haven't come from many, many thousands of miles away. So hopefully they still have lots of their nutrients intact. So with my veggie slicer here, my quick slicer, I'll get some nice even slices. This is very sharp. So this is another time saver. Look at this. See, we get some nice even slices here. And this is the easy part. Now while that is on, I'm just going to turn on my pan and get it heated up here. And so we're cooking in the wok, the large stainless steel skillet, which is non-stick. And I'm just going to turn it to medium. We're not using any oil today for our veggies. So it's very simple for veggies. We're using peppers and broccoli. Now, if your broccoli, or if you don't have either of those two, you can use, or don't like them, then you can use whatever fresh veggies you have on hand. You could also use cauliflower. You can use green, yellow beans if you wish. Some onions in there. But for this recipe, we're using peppers and broccoli. And that's it. We've already got wonderful quinoa. All right, so this one is heating up here. Just going to pop the peppers in the pan first, and then we're going to be adding broccoli. Now, so this is about 2 cups of peppers. You can add or subtract according to whatever your family prefers. Okay, and then for our broccoli, broccoli is one of the highest, the vegetables with the highest pesticide use. So if you've heard of the Dirty Dozen or the Clean 15, you want to check that out. Just Google that. You'll get the Dirty Dozen. Those are the veggies and fruits that are the highest pesticide use and GMO, okay, which means genetically modified. And broccoli is right up there, along with spinach and strawberries. So you want to make sure that those are things that you get organic, if possible, and non-GMO, okay? Now, on to another tip then about when people are switching over to a plant-based or following a plant-based diet or vegan diet, then is where relying on processed meat. So we talked about protein earlier, and where do people get their protein if they're plant-based? And we just said that it's from veggies, especially green veggies, okay? Because where do cows and horses and whatnot, where do they get their protein, and they're like amongst the biggest that we can get of animals, right? They get from grass, so why not for us too, right? Our teeth are actually made for chewing grass, just kind of like a cow's and horses' teeth, just by the way. Just saying, you don't see people with a lot of sharp, pointy teeth, which are for carnivores like wolves. You know, our teeth are made differently, right? And like our dogs, they have very sharp, pointy teeth for tearing into meat, whereas humans do not. So that's another telltale tale for you there. And so people think that they have to rely on meat, and then when they switch to vegetarian, plant-based, they tend to go for these processed meat substitutes. Now they're okay from time to time, like if you want to give yourself a treat, but it's better not to rely on those. They're better than the meat alternative, especially for if you're just switching over to a plant-based diet, because they are based with like tofu and pea products. However, they're heavily processed. And so whenever you're eating a plant-based diet, any diet, whether you're plant-based or not, you want to avoid processed meats and foods as much as possible, all right? And also those things tend to be highly treated with pesticides, and they're genetically modified at the same time. So there you want to, that's another common mistake. And I've got my peppers here cooking. Now the next thing that I'm going to add is, because we're not adding oil, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of water, and that is going to help steam the veggies for a few minutes. Now broccoli that I'm using, normally if you can't get organic broccoli, can be very expensive. I have found this broccoli that is organic, pesticide free. You can get them at your grocery store or at Costco, and so that is a great alternative. And so we know that frozen is the next best thing to fresh, and sometimes frozen is even better than fresh because they are frozen on site, like within hours. Now I like to give them a rinse anyway. I know it's been all chopped up and washed, but I like to give my frozen veggies a rinse before putting them in the pan. It's a psychological thing, but it never hurts. All right, so we need 4 cups, and they're already cut for you, so which is another bonus. And this package is approximately 5 cups. So you know what? I love broccoli, so I'm just going to add the whole thing. Here we go. And if you get some big pieces, you just chop them so that they all cook evenly. Now these are already kind of parboiled, so they've been blanched, and so they'll just take a few minutes. So this part is the shortest part to cook the veggies. So I'm going to put my cover on, let them steam. Just turn up the heat here. And then all that we have left to do once these are finished is to put the plate together. So while we're just waiting for the broccoli to finish up, I'll tell you another mistake that people make is that they think that they don't need supplements. A lot of people that I've talked to feel that if you eat healthy, then you do not need to add any supplements to your diet. We wish that was true, right? The unfortunate reality is that our soils have been so depleted over the last number of years that there's not a lot of nutrients left in the soils because as things are being grown, nutrients are not being replaced, and therefore the soil is poor, and a lot of what we eat is not, unfortunately, does not have all of the nutrients that we need, that our bodies need. And so there's a few especially that no matter what diet you're following, you need these in your diet, and it would be great if you could supplement with a multivitamin that has some of these, and then some of them will be extra that you need to add, and those are vitamin B12. Now I find personally that adding a B50 complex, so you get the whole, a B complex, you get the whole range of B vitamins that work together in your body, that your body needs for all kinds of processing, okay? Vitamin D3, now we've heard a lot about vitamin D over the past couple of years, haven't we? And we know that even though our body can make vitamin D from being exposed to the sun, the reality is that many people do not get very much sun for various reasons. And so whether you stick inside most of the day, if you cover up, if you go out gardening and you think you're getting sun, but you've got long sleeve shirt, long pants, a hat, really you're not getting much sun. So if you are that type of person, then you would need to supplement with vitamin D3 as well. And you're not going to hurt yourself. If anything, you're just boosting your immune system, right? And we all need that now, along with omega-3s, which are, there's a lot in plants, but not enough that our body needs. And so if you eat fish, then you probably get a good, or take a fish oil supplement, then you probably are getting enough omega-3s. However, if you're not eating fish or taking a fish oil supplement, then you'll need to get another omega-3 supplement. And fish, again, get their omegas from kelp, from the algae in the ocean. So you can go straight to an algae based supplement. Iodine, iron, vitamin K2. These are all vitamins that we've heard being tossed around over the past couple of years, and so you want to make sure that you get them, okay? Now let me just have a look here and see how this one is going. I've got this on the smaller burner so that you can see. And oh, there's nothing in here except my veggies. Can you see how nice and colorful these are? Look at this. If this is not colors of the rainbow and colors of health, what is, right? All right, so that will just be another minute. And so I'm going to plate it up now. And we've got our bowl right here. Move some of this out of the way so that you can see. So I've got my quinoa. So I just put my quinoa in my rice cooker here, which is, look at that, perfect. Quinoa is certainly something that really is very nutritious, and at the same time it can be hard to cook. Now I've got here 2 servings. So we're just going to put our quinoa in the dish. Let's have a look at our tofu. It's nice and crispy. Look at that. But this one is actually going in here. And then we're going to put our peanut sauce that we just made earlier. We're going to add that into our pot. And this is just going to all just sink in there and get those veggies and the tofu. Tofu takes on the flavor of whatever you add to it. So this tofu will just take on the flavor of the peanut sauce. Now, just as an aside, I would not be throwing this away. I'm going to be making a smoothie later, and I'm going to just use this goodness of peanut butter for my smoothie. And if you haven't seen me make a smoothie before, you'll see, you know that I add all kinds of things to my smoothies. So peanut butter will go just great in there. Now you just need to heat it up. That's it. Just add the peanut butter, the peanut sauce at the end as it heats up. And here we go. This is how it looks. Doesn't that look delicious? Let's turn that pan down. And just going to scoop it up here. Now you can use, actually here I find that tongs work much better. Just get my tongs out of here to get all of this wonderful veggies. Look at this. Oh, yum, yum. Isn't this delicious? Then just going to add a bit of sauce on here on the top, like so. And I'm going to add a sprinkle of my lime zest. And I've got here as well some fresh chives from the garden. So just using my kitchen shears. The chives are one of the first things to come up in the garden, so it's a wonderful addition to your plate. So many people have them growing and don't really know what to do with them. Just add them to any dish that you make, and I promise you, you will be so delighted that you did. And then the final thing that I'm adding is some chopped peanuts. And so I've got here some of my peanuts that I was using to make my peanut butter. Just going to put them in my food chopper. And you want to just give them a couple of hits here in the food chopper. There you go. So nice and easy. And a sprinkle of nuts. And your dish is complete. Isn't that delicious? Now, just remember a couple of other things that I want to mention is that a lot of people, when they're going vegetarian, plant-based, vegan, they have a limited menu and they go from the same thing over and over again, and it gets boring. You don't need to do that. You see, if you have somebody in your house that is absolutely against tofu, you can add some chicken to this for them, and it's a win-win for everybody because they still have all of these cancer-fighting, heart-healthy veggies added in here, and nobody is going to be fighting about it. I know from personal experience that meat is a big thing to a lot of people. And so just make sure, the final point I want to leave you with is you do you. One other big mistake that people make is that they compare themselves and their diets to someone else. and say, well, this can't be good because it's not the same way that Shelley is doing it or so-and-so is doing it. Don't matter about that. The best that you can do for yourself is to eat as healthy as possible. Even if you do one substitution per day to switch over so that you have a more plant-based, heart-healthy diet, then you are going to be a winner in it all. So I hope that you enjoyed this recipe. If you would like the written recipe, send it to me. It is courtesy of the Food Revolution Network that I got this, and I can send you the recipe, the written recipe, if you would like it in exact detail. Just comment below and I will get that out to you. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you learned lots today, and if you have any questions, anything at all, just send me a message, comment below, and I would be happy to respond. And remember, I'm here to help you make meals one memory and one delicious dish at a time, to make mealtime healthy and happy for everybody. My mission is to help you be the healthiest version of you that you can be. So if you would like to know more about any of the tools I've used here, you can find them on my website at www.pamperedchef.biz/Shelley Gosselin. And you can also contact me at any time for more of these healthy, delicious recipes. I hope that I'll be seeing you soon for our next Eat to Beat Cancer Challenge recipe. Take care. Ciao for now. Salut.